Moving right along, we've got 23rd place Christopher Smith. He's widely known as the UVS Dad and a part of the Universes Academy podcast. He managed to qualify at in-person Nats playing Hiroshima 2, but his first love is All Might, and specifically All Might 3, the deck that he, or at least the character that he won a provisional showdown with. So this time we're rocking the All symbol, bringing us Nullify right off the bat. Love Nullify. Some of the lesser played symbols, right? We didn't see Nullify in the other water decks. So love this card a lot. Saw it on stream day one, but didn't produce a ton of results, unfortunately. So I'd like to see a lot more of this in the future, and probably the most interesting wrinkle to an otherwise normally like aggro deck. So really cool to see that. We see 2 mainboard Capture Evildoers, but none in the sideboard. 2 Hardened Uppercut, that's a really nice high block. Brutish Swagger, this is automatically turned on by All Might, so that makes perfect sense. This is like the replacement for Back Alley, right? You get to draw a card as your first attack and get stunned too. That's pretty nice. And it has Fury. It doesn't have Punch, it has Fury, so really kind of neat that it works with All Might 3. Rapid Punches, we're going to see this a lot on its symbols for a long time probably. 3 Hardened Barrage. Spoiler alert, I think we're going to be rocking some Destined for mainstream success. Texas Smash, a great way to drop those extra cards that you draw. And then Missouri Smash is becoming more and more popular. This is an attack I really liked in set 1, but the characters that were really good at blocking were just way too good at blocking, and high blocks, like Rising Starlet probably kept it out of the format. So makes sense that it's on a character that can pump speed. Makes sense that it's with Rapid Punches and Brutish Swagger to kind of open the opponent up and have these other on-hit threats like Rapid Punches. So really cool to see the adaptations. I wonder if he was running this before Ojiros were on Earth, or maybe he had this on the good symbol too. So one of my favorite effects is that Top Enhance. If it deals damage, you get to build the next foundation you play face up. But dealing damage was not super consistent with this, so we didn't see it too often. Next up, we have a 1 of Prone to Dry Eyes and 2 Pull No Punches. So mixing it up with our 3 diffs a little bit here. A little conservative, It's nice if we have this Prone to Dry Eyes, but it's not super necessary. This is a card that lets you kind of go way over the top, and I think compared to the water decks, this is kind of a late game card. I think it's going to be later in the game where we have face downs for stun hate. It'll be later in the game where we have these extra cards and we need to get that mileage with our attacks where we're discarding more than once. So 1 of is kind of interesting here, but makes sense when you can get that damage from your character otherwise. And then we see another one in the sideboard, meaning that I think this is teched for some stun. Maybe there's a specific matchup where the damage pump is really important, but yeah, it's nice to see this on more than just water. 3 Talented Baker, again, we turn this on, just more stats, really makes sense. A lot of people are interested in this card. I've seen more than one person ask me at my locals, hey, do we put this in Ojiro? Do we put this in Tiger on the All symbol? Like, where do we fit this in? And the answer is just any deck that's going to draw cards where you're not hitting your attacks more often. So this could also be a reason that we started playing Missouri Smash. We've got more reliable speed pump. Spooky has a 1 of Unique Defensive Foundation. Very cool to see this. Combos very well with Specialist of Sound and with Unexpected Hero. So this is typically like an aggro character that can play a bunch of really cool defensive pieces and use that hard drawing card advantage to become sort of a mid-range deck. Maybe the definition of mid-range, it really depends on how you want to build this character. Jacob Johnson built a wall version of this character, so to me that seems a lot more mid-rangey when you can specialize in these different avenues. So it would not surprise me if this deck could play a very nice long game. Chivalrous Competitor is a 4 of staple for just a lot of reasons. Snack Time, another great way to dump those extra cards. This is very much like the One with Nature for this symbol, since we don't have access to that. Full on attack mode. Now this one is an interesting tech piece. It helps you stay out of deadlock if that's something that you really need help with, but allowing you to gain some health and get like essentially +1 damage, this is a really interesting one. I'm thinking it's mostly about the staying out of deadlock, because again, we talked about how you can have a really nice long game with this deck, but yeah, I'd really have to know if there was a time where this was really important, where we're gaining like a significant amount of health. But you normally see this in throw decks, so that's another reason it's super curious. Maybe there's a blocking situation. Nope, high blocks are our most common blocks, so this could be really interesting. This tells me that we're just saddled up for a long game and was expecting really defensive decks where there's a lot of poking, trading, and maybe 1 or 2 life gained back could add an extra wrinkle to our offense. Yeah, interesting card for sure. Destined for mainstream, this is a super staple. I'm very surprised it's not a 4 of. We do have a lot of different tech in this deck, and it's only 61 cards, so it is above minimum, but it's not like crazy big, like 65, 67 like we've seen before. So this is one of my favorite cards, but it does also kind of get overshadowed by the fact that celebrity status can be used with our character draw. So this is, in this deck, Destined is less about checking well and more about grabbing specific attacks a lot of the time. You know, with that Specialist of Sound, we can peek the top card randomly too, so maybe he was just grabbing enough attacks and building enough that this wasn't super important, because Destined for mainstream, checking well is typically something that you absolutely need to have for like super early turns. And the later the game goes, that part's not massively important. 3 easily excited because it's a stat pump, 3 floating because it's a stat pump, and 4 it can't be fixed is the right number because it is an insane high block and it is great stun hate, commit hate. So not surprised to see that. All in all, I think this deck is super sweet. I think it's very interesting. I don't think it's super different from the all symbol versions. You know, we've kind of got, you know, it's still very similar, or sorry, not all symbol, good symbol versions. I think it's still very similar to the good symbol versions. You know, we're trading out Back Alley Haymaker for Brutish Swagger, right? You know, Hardened Uppercut's probably the biggest reason to go to one of these symbols, but where our attack lamp starts to look like a lot of the Earth and the all OG Road decks, you know, with the Bert and Ernie punches, the Texas Smash, and the Missouri Smash. So very interesting. I think I would prefer to play this over OG Road 2, but he gets a lot more stats than All Might, and he gets them even if your opponent goes down to 1 or 2 cards early on. So in a very fast format, I think Chris is maybe regretting not playing OG Road, or maybe not tuning this deck a little bit differently. But he had an absolutely amazing year, probably the best year he's ever played Universes, and I was really happy to see him qualify. I was really happy to see, you know, him re-spark his love for the game, if you will. So congratulations, Christopher Smith. I wish you many good loot drops in Final Fantasy Online. And yeah, man, we hope to see you at the next World Championship.